Carl Jung's secret to energy control. Why most people fail at the first step. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be changed from one form to another. Albert Einstein once said, and this truth lies at the heart of Carl Jung's secret to energy control. Every thought, every emotion you allow into your mind becomes the frequency that shapes your life. Yet most people stumble at the very first step, not because they lack power, but because they fail to understand how to direct it. In today's episode of Spiritual Wisdom, we'll explore how to take back control of your energy so you can live with clarity, strength, and purpose. As you listen, I invite you to reflect. How do you currently manage your energy? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because your insights might be exactly what someone else needs to hear on their journey of growth and happiness. 1. Vital energy as life force. Each of us carries within a powerful vital energy, called in different traditions prana, chi, ether, or magnetic fluid. And though it may appear abstract, it is never distant. It is the very vitality that makes your body move, the emotion that colors your heart, and the intention that directs your thoughts. To deny its existence is like standing in a flowing river and claiming no water surrounds you. Carl Jung warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And this wisdom applies equally to the unseen energy currents that shape every dimension of our lives. The reason so many fail at the first step of energy control is simple. They expect it to be mystical or external when it is already present, pulsing through them in every breath and heartbeat. It is not hidden. It is only ignored. When you wake up weary, when your mind is restless, when you feel inspired, all of it is the movement of energy. This force is not limited to saints or sages. It belongs to you. And the way you direct it determines whether you live in harmony or in chaos. As Einstein reminded us, energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be changed from one form to another, which means your responsibility is not to find energy, but to transform and channel what already flows within. Awareness is the foundation. Without recognizing how your energy manifests, you will waste it on distractions, negativity, and patterns that exhaust you. Jung showed that unrecognized forces within us lead to projection and conflict, and the same is true for unrecognized energy. It spills into worry, fear, and fatigue. The first act of intelligence and spiritual wisdom is to notice where your vitality goes, what drains it, and what strengthens it. By observing, you begin to reclaim the authority that has always been yours. From that awareness, practice becomes possible. Ancient systems like yoga, qigong, and breathwork are not empty rituals, but tools for aligning body, mind, and spirit. Conscious breathing awakens the current of life within you. Meditation allows you to experience thoughts as waves of energy rather than chains of identity. Stillness is not weakness, but the gateway to awakening. It is in silence that the hidden currents become audible. As Jung observed, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. Energy control begins in this turning inward, a recognition that what you seek is already within. Most people fail because they look outward, chasing stimulation, validation, or external power, while neglecting the inexhaustible stream inside. But when you treat your vitality as sacred, when you guard it with care and direct it with intention, you discover that this is the bridge between body, feeling, and thought. Every heartbeat, every emotion, every inspired idea is proof that the force you long for is already yours. Awareness, observation, and alignment, these are the true first steps. Failure is only forgetting, and remembering is always one breath away. Comment below. My vital energy is my life force. If you are ready to master the first step of energy control. 2. Energy in ancient and esoteric traditions. Thinkers such as Franz Barden, Eliphas Levi, and Aleister Crowley often taught that energy is not a vague mystery, but the living thread that binds body, mind, and spirit, and through disciplined will, it can be shaped into form, just as a sculptor shapes marble into beauty. Carl Jung warned that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. And this truth applies directly to energy, for unless you recognize how it flows within you, it will unconsciously guide your choices and outcomes. Energy is not passive. It answers to intention, attention, and spiritual awakening, responding like a mirror to the state of your inner world. Each thought you entertain becomes a spark, each emotion a vibration, and each action a wave you send into the universe, which is why learning to control and direct this force is not optional, but essential for true transformation. Hermetic philosophy reminds us of the principle, as above, so below, teaching that the same invisible laws that govern the stars also flow within the human soul. Ancient Chinese traditions describe this force as qi, a current of life energy traveling through meridians like rivers feeding both body and spirit. Practices such as qigong reveal that with breath, focus, and deliberate movement, you can clear energetic blockages just as debris is cleared from a stream, allowing life force to circulate freely and nourish every dimension of your being. These are not relics of a forgotten past, but timeless blueprints for balance, showing us how to sustain vitality in both the physical and spiritual realms. In modern life, while you may not dedicate hours to ancient exercises, you can still cultivate awareness of how energy shifts with your daily choices, your relationships, and even the digital spaces you immerse yourself in. By noticing how your breath changes in stress, how your posture reflects your state of mind, and how easily negativity drains you, you begin to reclaim mastery over your own current. To grasp this more clearly, think of energy as a kind of currency that you spend with every thought, word, and deed. If you pour it into arguments, worries, or endless distractions, you will quickly find yourself bankrupt, drained before the day is over. But when you consciously invest it into creativity, compassion, mindfulness, and inner strength, you will feel abundant, rich in vitality, and aligned with a deeper purpose. This is what spirituality truly means in daily life, the conscious art of using energy wisely. Spiritual awakening is the moment you shift from scattering energy unconsciously to directing it deliberately, recognizing when fear, anger, or doubt are draining you, and choosing instead to channel that force into actions and practices that uplift your spirit. Energy is therefore both the foundation and the instrument of transformation. The mystics of the past and the psychologists of the modern age converge on this single truth. Your life is a direct reflection of how you master the current within. Neglect it, and you will be carried by forces you cannot control. Cultivate it with awareness and discipline, and you step into harmony with the universal flow where clarity, strength, and higher wisdom naturally emerge. In a world overflowing with noise and distraction, this teaching has never been more urgent. Pay attention to how you use your energy, because it is the most precious resource you possess. Each breath, each thought, and each choice is a chance to strengthen or weaken your inner power. And when you learn to guide it consciously, energy itself becomes the silent ally that shapes a life of balance, spiritual wisdom, and unshakable purpose. Have you ever explored the wisdom of ancient and esoteric traditions to guide your energy? If so, share your experience in the comments below so we can all learn from your journey. If not, comment, "I will begin," and let's take this step into spiritual wisdom together. 3. Balance of body, mind, and spirit. Energy control begins not with force, but with balance, because real mastery of life energy requires harmony between body, mind, and spirit. The body becomes a vessel of strength when you nourish it with mindful breathing, wholesome food, and conscious movement. The mind becomes a sharp lens when guided by disciplined thoughts and clear intentions, able to focus this energy toward meaningful goals. The spirit, the deepest source of energy, awakens when you connect to the essence of life itself, opening a limitless current that flows through everything. Carl Jung pointed out that the path of spirituality and spiritual development is not just about changing how you think, but about becoming whole. And Crowley captured this truth when he defined magic as the art of transforming reality through disciplined will, reminding us that energy control is not wild force, but ordered creation. Breath is the bridge between the visible and the invisible. Every slow, deep breath sends calm to your nervous system and makes your body receptive to higher vibrations. Nutrition is more than fuel. It is the quality of energy you allow into your temple. Movement is more than exercise. It is the art of circulating energy so it never stagnates. Thoughts and intentions, like seeds planted in the soil of your subconscious, eventually shape your outer world. If you dwell on fear or resentment, you feed those realities. But if you cultivate gratitude, clarity, and purpose, your inner frequency shifts and your external life aligns with it. This is why many people fail at the very first step. They attempt to control energy without preparing their body, disciplining their mind, or awakening their spirit. The truth is that you are not divided into separate parts, but are one living system. Neglect the body, and the mind grows restless. Let the mind scatter, and the spirit feels distant. Ignore the spirit, and both body and mind collapse into imbalance. Energy control becomes possible only when you honor all three, for then they work as allies instead of scattered forces. Spirituality teaches us that energy flows where attention goes, and when body, mind, and spirit move in harmony, attention itself becomes powerful enough to reshape reality. Like a river, energy must be guided with strong banks. Without balance, it floods or dries. But with balance, it nourishes everything it touches. The practical lesson is simple yet transformative. Begin with your foundation. Breathe consciously to restore calm. Eat and move in ways that bring vitality. Guard your thoughts like treasures, for they are the architects of your life. Nourish your spirit with meditation, prayer, or silence, because there lies the true well of energy. Jung believed that real spiritual development required courage to face the inner world, and through that courage, the forces within could finally be mastered. When you bring body, mind, and spirit into alignment, energy control ceases to feel like a struggle. It becomes a natural flow, the effortless expression of your wholeness, and the disciplined will that shapes your life into meaning and purpose. Leave your likes and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to activate the notification bell so you won't miss powerful teachings on the balance of body, mind, and spirit. Comment below. I deserve to live a financially prosperous life. And claim this truth for yourself today. 4. Qi and universal connection. Qi is the living breath that sustains you, a force both visible and invisible that binds you to the intelligence of the cosmos and keeps you in constant dialogue with the universe. When this current flows freely, you feel strong, clear, and balanced. But when it is blocked, the result is weakness, disease, and spiritual disconnection. Carl Jung once reminded us, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And this truth applies directly to energy. Most people fail at the first step of energy control because they try to dominate their energy rather than listen to it, forcing instead of harmonizing, fighting the current instead of sailing with it. Imagine qi as a river. When the water flows without obstruction, it nourishes everything in its path. But when blocked, it stagnates and poisons its surroundings. The same is true for your inner life. Suppressed emotions, unresolved conflicts, and daily tension build dams that slow or even stop the natural flow of your life force. These dams eventually reveal themselves as stress, anxiety, confusion, or physical illness. Energy control begins not with force, but with awareness, the willingness to notice how qi moves, where it flows, and where it does not. It is here that practices like qigong, meditation, yoga, and breathwork become powerful tools, because they help you reconnect to the universal breath, dissolving blockages and awakening vitality. The moment you pause and breathe deeply, you step into this awareness. Each breath becomes more than air. It becomes intelligence, guiding you back to balance and opening the door to spiritual wisdom. Through steady attention, you find clarity of thought, strength of heart, and a quiet resilience that carries you through chaos. This is the essence of spiritual awakening, discovering that qi is not abstract, but an intimate presence, the very life in your veins. As Jung said, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. Looking inside means recognizing that qi is your inner teacher, and when you align with it, you align with the rhythm of creation itself. Energy control is therefore not about domination, but about harmony. You learn to notice the subtle whispers of your body, the hidden knots of your emotions, and the silent currents of your thoughts. You release what no longer serves you, and in doing so, you allow the river of life to flow again. When qi circulates without resistance, you feel whole, creative, and alive, connected to the vast intelligence that animates everything. When you resist, you feel fragmented, drained, and adrift. The choice is always yours, and the secret is simpler than most realize. Breathe, listen, release, and flow. This is how you honor both the wisdom of the ancients and the insights of Carl Jung, awakening to the reality that true energy control begins with awareness and ends with freedom. 5. The role of the mind. The mind is both a magnet and a conductor of universal energy, a living force that pulls into your life the exact experiences that match your thoughts, while also directing how that energy flows and manifests. When the mind is undisciplined, it becomes scattered and chaotic, leaking energy in every direction. But when it is trained with focus and clarity, it acts like a finely tuned instrument, drawing in higher vibrations and channeling them into purposeful creation. Carl Jung emphasized that without mental discipline, external energy control is impossible, because the energy of the universe responds not to wishful thinking, but to the strength and clarity of your inner focus. To think you can bend outer circumstances without first mastering the inner landscape of thought and emotion is like trying to lead an orchestra without ever learning how to play your own instrument. Energy follows thought, and thought follows attention, which means your power lies in where and how you place your focus. If your attention is constantly distracted by noise, fear, or endless digital stimulation, the energy you radiate will be weak and fragmented. But if you cultivate introspection, meditation, and presence, you sharpen your mind into a steady current that channels universal energy with precision. As Jung warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Most people fail at the first step because they ignore this truth, trying to control energy externally while remaining slaves to their unconscious habits internally. In modern life, where constant distractions steal our focus, this teaching is more essential than ever. Every notification, every compulsive thought, every unexamined reaction drains your life force. Spiritual awakening begins when you reclaim that force, when you treat your mind as sacred space and train it to hold attention like a flame in the wind. Athletes, artists, and spiritual masters all know this secret. True mastery does not come from random bursts of effort, but from disciplined focus, cultivated daily. It could be 10 minutes of silence in the morning, mindful breathing, prayer, or journaling. What matters is not the form, but the discipline that strengthens the magnet of the mind and refines the conductor of your energy. When the mind is disciplined, you stop reacting blindly and begin responding with intelligence, direction, and spiritual wisdom. You draw to yourself experiences that align with your higher values, and you direct your energy toward creation instead of chaos. This is why the first step in energy control is always internal, mastering your own mind before reaching outward. Once this step is taken, your thoughts stop working against you and start working for you. The unconscious no longer dictates your path. Instead, you consciously direct your energy into the life you are meant to live. Through this mastery, you discover that your reality is not a product of random fate, but a deliberate expression of your spiritual awakening. And the universe mirrors back the clarity and strength of the energy you hold within. Do you trust in the power of the mind to guide your energy? If you do, declare it boldly in the comments. My mind is strong, and I believe. 6. Foundational practices. Body scanning is far more than a simple relaxation exercise. It is a practice of deep self-awareness that opens the doorway to energy control and spiritual development. By moving your attention slowly through each part of the body, noticing tension, heaviness, or subtle sensations without judgment, you begin to connect with the hidden layers of your energy system. This awareness trains your mind to listen, to observe, and to detect the flow of life force that often remains unconscious. Carl Jung reminded us that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Through body scanning, the unconscious patterns of your body begin to rise into consciousness, preparing you to direct your energy with clarity instead of being directed by habits you cannot see. It becomes a foundational discipline where your physical presence and inner awareness align, creating the conditions for energy balance and awakening. Conscious breathing is the next step, and it acts as the living bridge between body and spirit. Deep abdominal breathing grounds you, drawing your awareness to the core of your being, while alternate nostril breathing balances the left and right channels of energy, harmonizing the mind. Both methods awaken the lower dantian, the energetic center where vitality is stored and transformed. When practiced with intention, every inhale becomes an act of receiving new life, and every exhale a release of tension and stagnation. Modern science confirms that mindful breathing calms the nervous system, reduces stress, and improves focus, while ancient traditions have long known it as the key to unlocking energy centers. In spirituality, the breath is sacred. It is not only air, but a rhythm that aligns you with the pulse of life itself. By controlling your breath, you begin to control your mind, and by mastering your mind, you step into freedom from the chaos of external circumstances. The reason most people fail at this very first step is not because the practices are difficult, but because they appear too simple to be taken seriously. Many chase dramatic spiritual experiences while ignoring the basic groundwork that makes such experiences possible. Without awareness of the body and mastery of the breath, energy remains scattered, unfocused, and unstable. It is like attempting to build a towering structure without laying a strong foundation. The higher you go, the more fragile it becomes. These practices are the roots that hold the tree upright. Neglect them, and the tree cannot grow strong. The truth is that the first step is not glamorous, but it is essential, and those who embrace it will find themselves anchored and prepared for every stage of spiritual awakening that follows. The deeper message is that energy is not something external you must acquire. It is already within you, waiting for guidance. Body scanning teaches you to listen to the body's silent signals, to honor the subtle wisdom that your physical form carries. Conscious breathing trains your awareness to move with discipline, teaching you how to release, restore, and realign. When you bring these practices into your daily life, you are not just performing techniques. You are reshaping the way your consciousness engages with existence. They become habits of presence, anchoring you in the only place transformation ever happens at the present moment. Awareness becomes the key, the body the vessel, and the breath the bridge. Through these foundations, you begin to step into true energy control, where spirituality is no longer abstract but lived, where spiritual development is not a distant goal, but a daily unfolding, and where balance, clarity, and awakening become the natural expression of your disciplined practice. 7. Emotions as energy in motion. Emotions are currents of energy in motion that shape the way your life force flows. When you feel joy, love, or gratitude, your energy expands, your mind opens, and your entire being radiates strength and vitality. These emotions are like light breaking through the clouds, lifting you into a higher state of intelligence and connecting you with your spiritual wisdom. But when fear, anger, or sadness dominate, your energy contracts. blocking the natural flow that keeps you alive and vibrant. Carl Jung once said, "What you resist not only persists, but grows in size." And this truth reminds you that unprocessed emotions don't disappear. They take root and drain your power, making it harder for you to manifest the life you desire. Emotions are never abstract. They live in the body and spirit. Anxiety weighs on the chest. Anger unsettles the heart. Sadness weakens the immune system. And over time, these energies can even harm your organs. Yet when you cultivate joy, it boosts immunity. When you nurture love, it heals your heart. And when you practice gratitude, it balances your nervous system. Jung explained that ignored emotions become autonomous complexes that control you unconsciously, pulling the strings of your life without your awareness. The real mastery begins when you see emotions not as enemies to fight or suppress, but as raw energy waiting to be guided. The first step of energy control is awareness, but most people fail here. They either bury their emotions deep inside, creating blocks, or let them explode without control, wasting precious power. True mastery comes when you treat every feeling as a tool. Love becomes fuel for creation. Gratitude becomes the frequency of abundance, and even difficult emotions like fear or anger can be redirected. Fear transforms into courage when you recognize its energy urging you to act. Sadness turns into wisdom when you see it as a teacher guiding you to release. Anger sharpens into clarity when you channel it into building stronger boundaries. As Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. By bringing emotions into your awareness, you take back the steering wheel of your own destiny. In today's world, filled with stress, distractions, and endless triggers, this wisdom matters more than ever. If you let outside forces control your emotions, you become reactive, drained, and powerless. But if you build emotional intelligence and learn to transform feelings into energy you can use, you rise above circumstances. This is where spirituality and spiritual awakening come alive in your daily life, not only in silence or meditation, but in every moment you master your emotions instead of being mastered by them. Emotions are energy in motion. They can heal or harm, expand or block, but the choice of how to use them is always yours. Stay connected with our spiritual wisdom community by subscribing to the channel. Here, we explore how emotions are not just feelings, but energy in motion, guiding us toward healing and transformation. Remember, you have the power to turn every emotion into fuel for your spiritual awakening and the abundant life you deserve. 8. Intention and concentration as keys. Intention is the seed that directs your inner force, and concentration is the sunlight that allows that seed to grow into reality. Without concentration, even the strongest intention disperses like water poured into sand, leaving you drained without results. But with concentration, that same energy becomes a river carving its way through mountains. Carl Jung reminded us that the unconscious will rule our lives until we make it conscious, and the practice of focus is exactly how you begin to bring unconscious energy under conscious control. Every thought, every desire you hold is like a spark, but it only becomes a flame when you sustain it with attention. Without that steady flame, your dreams dissolve into smoke, yet with discipline, they solidify into form. In spirituality and in everyday life, this is the first and most overlooked truth of energy control. You cannot harness what you will not focus. When you look at your daily patterns, you can see how this truth operates. Perhaps you start your morning with a clear intention to be productive, but as the hours unfold, your mind scatters into social media feeds, unfinished tasks, or endless worries, and by evening, you feel tired but unaccomplished. That exhaustion is not from a lack of energy, but from leaking it in all directions. Spiritual awakening begins the moment you understand that focus is sacred. To focus is to protect your energy from being wasted. Intention without concentration is like sowing seeds on rocky ground, but intention held with steady attention becomes fertile soil where growth is inevitable. Modern science agrees. Wherever you direct repeated focus, your brain strengthens those pathways, rewiring itself to support your chosen reality. Ancient practices such as meditation, yoga, and pranayama were not created as mystical rituals to impress others, but as living tools to discipline and refine the mind. In meditation, when you bring your attention back to the breath after each distraction, you are teaching your mind to return home rather than wander. In yoga, every posture asks you to unite breath, body, and awareness into one channel of energy, revealing the harmony of concentration and motion. In pranayama, the very act of directing the breath shows you that energy responds to conscious control. That calmness and vitality are not random, but cultivated. These disciplines are bridges between intention and manifestation, between thought and reality, reminding you that energy can be guided if you choose to guide it. In your modern life, you can practice the same wisdom without a mat or a meditation hall. When you set aside your phone and give your full attention to a single task, you are already practicing energy control. When you speak an affirmation with clarity and return to it throughout the day, you are reinforcing intention with focus. The culture of multitasking tells you that scattering your energy is efficient. Yet the deeper truth is that power lies in single-pointed attention. As Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Concentration is the key to this transformation because it pulls what is hidden into awareness, giving you the ability to create instead of merely react. Energy follows intention, and intention grows only under the light of concentration. To master this is to master your life. For in the harmony of focused energy lies the path of true spiritual wisdom and awakening. And that brings us to the end of today's journey into Carl Jung's Secret to Energy Control. Why most people fail at the first step. Remember, true mastery of your energy begins with awareness and intentional practice. It is the foundation of spiritual wisdom and personal growth. If this message has inspired you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom for more insights that will help you on your path of awakening. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming videos. Until next time, keep your energy aligned and your spirit strong. Quantum manifestation is working for you even if you don't know it yet. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Quantum manifestation is always at work, even when you don't realize it, because your thoughts, emotions, and hidden beliefs are shaping the reality you step into every day. Imagine what could change if you began to align with this unseen power instead of resisting it. In today's video on spiritual wisdom, we'll explore how manifestation is already working for you and how you can consciously step into it for more joy, growth, and fulfillment. Have you ever noticed moments in your life where things seem to align effortlessly, as if by magic? Share your story in the comments, because your experience might be the very key someone else needs to hear. 1. Desire is a magnetic signal, not evidence of lack. Desire is not a weakness or a flaw, but a magnetic signal calling new possibilities into your life. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." In the same way, when desire rises within you, it is not proof of something missing, but a sign that the unconscious is aligning with the quantum field and showing you what is possible. Your wanting is not a cry of incompleteness, but an invitation from the universe, whispering that a new path is waiting to be revealed through you. Often, people mistake desire for deficiency. When you long for love, you might tell yourself you are incomplete without a partner. When you crave financial freedom, you might think you are broken because you do not yet have it. But true spiritual wisdom reveals that desire itself is intelligence in action. It is the universe expressing itself through your consciousness, nudging you toward growth the way a flower naturally leans toward the sunlight. In this light, your desires are not shadows you chase, but signals of expansion guiding you toward your higher potential. Quantum manifestation operates quietly, often beneath your awareness, yet always powerfully. Even in moments of self-doubt, the signal of your desire moves into the quantum field, sending ripples that align circumstances and attract outcomes. Albert Einstein said, "Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions." That imagination, born from your desire, is not idle fantasy. It is a direct communication from the deeper intelligence of the universe, weaving threads of what is to come into your present awareness. When you learn to honor your desires without labeling them as lack, you step out of resistance and allow manifestation to unfold naturally. Every longing is proof of readiness, not of inadequacy. It shows that a new reality is prepared to be born through you. Desire is the pulse of spiritual awakening, the echo of a greater design that trusts you to carry it forward. What feels like personal wanting is in truth the universe itself expanding through you. By reframing desire as a sacred signal rather than a mark of emptiness, you begin to collaborate with the quantum field instead of pushing against it. The next time you feel a deep yearning, resist the urge to call it weakness. Instead, ask, what is the universe trying to manifest through me? When you shift perspective in this way, you step out of scarcity and into co-creation. You no longer see desire as evidence of what you lack, but as confirmation of the infinite possibilities alive within you. The quantum field does not measure your worthiness. It simply responds to the signals you send. And desire, far from being emptiness, is the clearest, most powerful signal of all. Do you see your desires as proof of lack or as the magnetic signals they truly are? Share your perspective in the comments below so we can all learn from each other. And if you're ready to shift into this new way of seeing, comment, "I choose to align," and let the universe respond to you. 2. Manifestation works by resonance, not by force. Manifestation works not by force, but by resonance. Because the universe does not respond to desperate effort or complicated technique, it responds to the vibration you embody. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." And this reminds us that the quantum field mirrors the frequency of your deepest beliefs more than the surface of your words. The invisible field of energy around you is listening not to the affirmations you recite in tension, but to the coherence of your thoughts, emotions, and inner state. When you vibrate with peace, gratitude, and clarity, reality aligns to reflect it back. And when you radiate fear, doubt, or lack, even the most carefully crafted rituals only push away what you seek. It is like two musical instruments when one is out of tune. No amount of force makes the sound beautiful, but when both are tuned together, the resonance is effortless and powerful. In the same way, manifestation is not about how hard you try, but about how harmoniously you vibrate. A person who hustles endlessly for success while secretly feeling unworthy will always feel blocked, while someone who cultivates joy, presence, and inner alignment often finds opportunities arriving without struggle. What looks like luck or miracle is simply resonance at work, because the universe reflects what you are, not what you chase. This is the essence of spirituality and spiritual awakening. Not collecting more tools or forcing more control, but awakening to the energy you carry within and how it shapes the world around you. Every anxious thought whispers, "I don't have enough." Every desperate desire declares, "I am incomplete." And the quantum field mirrors that back as delay, resistance, or emptiness. But every moment of gratitude, every act of trust, and every step taken from wholeness radiates a frequency of abundance, and life organizes itself around that vibration. The Bible says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." And this spiritual wisdom holds true in modern life, where many chase endlessly, yet forget to embody the very state they seek. So the real intelligence of manifestation lies not in doing more, but in becoming more aligned. When you notice yourself forcing, chasing, or grasping, it is a signal to return to coherence. When you surrender into trust, soften into presence, and choose to embody peace and worthiness right now, the field responds because your energy has become magnetic. Jung's insight into synchronicity teaches that the inner and outer worlds are linked. So when the psyche resonates with abundance, the universe arranges circumstances that match. This is why, the moment you stop pushing and start resonating, opportunities, love, and prosperity flow naturally, not as accidents, but as reflections of the song your energy is already playing. 3. The nervous system, not thought, is the primary transmitter. The nervous system, not thought alone, is the true transmitter of the energy you send into the universe. And this is why so many people struggle with manifestation, despite filling notebooks with affirmations or spending hours visualizing their dreams. Your emotions and the patterns of safety or insecurity stored in your body are what determine the frequency you radiate. And if those patterns are rooted in fear, doubt, or unhealed wounds, then your signal will be clouded no matter how many times you repeat positive words. Affirmations and visualizations are not meaningless, but they gain their real power only when they are aligned with the state of your body and emotions. Imagine your nervous system as a broadcasting tower. If the tower is unstable and filled with static, the clearest message will still come out distorted. In spirituality and spiritual development, the key is not forcing your mind into constant positivity, but creating coherence between your body, your heart, and your thoughts so that what you project is authentic, whole, and magnetic. You may notice that when your body feels relaxed, safe, and open, life begins to respond with ease. Opportunities arise without force. The right people cross your path, and synchronicities appear as if by design. Yet when you carry tension, stress, and hidden fear, even 1,000 affirmations of abundance will not conceal the signal of lack that your energy is transmitting. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Those unconscious imprints are often held in the nervous system, shaping the reality you attract without you even knowing it. This is why manifestation is never just a mental exercise. It is a full-body state of being where the nervous system, emotions, and thoughts work together in harmony to send out a vibration that life recognizes and responds to. The practice, then, is to care for and regulate your inner world, rather than trying to control the outer one. When you feel tightness in your chest, shallow breathing, or unease in your body, the solution is not to silence it with forced positivity, but to meet it with awareness, compassion, and calming practices that restore safety within. Breathwork, meditation, grounding exercises, or even gentle stillness can shift your nervous system from fear into trust. Once that foundation is steady, your affirmations and visualizations begin to carry real weight because they are supported by the body's truth rather than contradicted by it. Manifestation is not about perfection, but congruence. And when your emotions, nervous system, and mind align, the signal you emit is clear, consistent, and powerful. Spirituality and spiritual development invite you to live in this integrated state where you are not chasing your desires, but embodying them, not begging the universe to respond, but allowing your frequency to resonate with what you seek. The more you cultivate safety within your body, the more your external life begins to reflect that sense of trust and openness, and the less you find yourself forcing outcomes that never seem to arrive. What you are learning is that the nervous system is the gateway of manifestation, the unseen channel through which your desires flow into reality. When you nurture it, calm it, and bring it into alignment with your highest vision, you discover that quantum manifestation has been working for you all along, quietly shaping your life from within. Comment below. I trust my nervous system to guide me. If you are ready to align with the true flow of abundance. 4. Mixed inner frequencies create interference. When you attempt to call in a new reality while still clinging emotionally to the old one, you create a kind of energetic static, like two radio stations bleeding into each other until the sound becomes distorted. Outwardly, you may be affirming abundance, declaring freedom, or visualizing love, but inwardly, you might still carry fear, doubt, or attachment to what has already passed. These mixed frequencies collide and cancel each other out, preventing manifestation from taking clear form. Carl Jung captured this truth when he said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." The interference is not outside of you. It is the unresolved vibration within. Every time you speak words of prosperity while secretly feeling lack, or imagine a loving relationship while fearing rejection, you are sending contradictory signals to the universe. Manifestation is not about forcing belief or endlessly repeating affirmations. It is about coherence, the alignment of thought, emotion, and energy. True spiritual wisdom teaches that intelligence lies in harmonizing the conscious and unconscious. Albert Einstein reminded us, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. If your declarations and emotions are misaligned, you are tuning to two stations at once, confusing not only yourself, but the very field that reflects your life back to you. This is why the real work of manifestation is not in chasing, but in releasing. You cannot move forward if you are still anchored in old beliefs, old wounds, or old fears. Trying to manifest while holding on to the past is like rowing a boat with the anchor dropped. The harder you row, the more exhausted you become, yet you remain stuck. Transformation begins the moment you surrender what no longer serves you. Letting go is not a weakness. It is the opening of space where new frequencies can enter. Spiritual awakening is not about adding more practices to force change, but about softening into presence and allowing coherence to naturally emerge. Jung's insight into the shadow explains why so many struggle with manifestation. The shadow is the part of you that remains hidden in your unacknowledged fears, guilt, or shame. You may consciously affirm wealth, yet unconsciously carry resentment toward money. You may crave love, yet unconsciously fear intimacy. These buried signals are more powerful than words. They transmit to the quantum field with precision, creating outcomes that mirror your hidden vibration. Spiritual intelligence is learning to integrate these parts, to bring unconscious material into the light, so that your entire being broadcasts a unified message. The universe does not respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you energetically are. When coherence replaces interference, manifestation ceases to be a struggle and becomes a natural unfolding. This is the wisdom echoed in the Tao Te Ching. By letting it go, it all gets done. The world is won by those who let it go. Once you release the grip of the old, once your inner state harmonizes with your outer desire, the static clears and the signal becomes pure. At that moment, you stop fighting with life and instead flow with it, and the reality you once chased begins to find its way to you with ease. 5. Parallel timelines already contain every possible outcome. Parallel timelines already contain every possible outcome. And within this, truth lies the heart of spirituality and spiritual awakening. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate," reminding us that what feels like destiny is often the result of hidden forces shaping our choices. Quantum manifestation reveals that multiple versions of you are already living the life you dream of. And manifestation is not about chasing, but about shifting your awareness to resonate with that timeline. Just like a radio does not create music, but simply tunes into a station already broadcasting, you do not create from nothing. You align with realities already vibrating in the field of existence. In these parallel possibilities, one version of you is already thriving in abundance. Another is in the relationship you have longed for, and another has stepped into peace and fulfillment. Physics suggests this through the many worlds theory, and spiritual wisdom confirms it by showing that you are not limited to this single path. You are energy, frequency, and consciousness with the power to choose which version of life you inhabit. Manifestation becomes less about rituals or affirmations and more about embodying the vibration of the outcome you want. Because your unconscious beliefs and emotions determine which timeline you walk into. Many people remain stuck, not because their dreams are unreachable, but because their energy is aligned with fear, scarcity, or doubt, which ties them to cycles of struggle. True spiritual awakening comes when you realize that by changing your inner state, you automatically shift into higher timelines where abundance and joy already exist. The intelligence within you does not respond to effort born of desperation. It responds to alignment, presence, and surrender. Jung's teachings show that when the unconscious becomes conscious, you stop living by default and start living by design, stepping into realities that were always waiting for you. In modern life, this understanding transforms how you view work, love, and daily challenges. Instead of seeing change as something distant or requiring endless effort, you begin to live as though the shift has already taken place. If you desire wealth, embody gratitude now. If you seek love, embody compassion today. Spirituality teaches that emotions are frequencies, and by holding the energy of your desired outcome, you draw yourself into the reality where it is already true. This is why breakthroughs often happen when you release the need to control, when you stop chasing and finally allow yourself to flow. Einstein once said, "Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it." Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. The wisdom here is timeless. Life is not waiting to be created. It is waiting to be tuned into. Your task is not to force, but to align, not to doubt, but to trust, not to wait, but to live as though the door has already opened. In the infinite field of possibilities, the reality you long for already exists, and the moment you awaken to this truth is the moment you begin to live it. Stay connected with our spiritual wisdom community by subscribing to the channel. Here, we explore how parallel timelines already hold every possible outcome, and how your awareness shapes which path unfolds. Remember, you are not limited. You are a powerful creator, already aligned with abundance, love, and possibility. 6. Practice through nervous system training and embodiment. Most people believe manifestation is only about the mind repeating affirmations, visualizing success, or forcing positive thoughts. But true quantum manifestation reaches much deeper, into the body and the nervous system that quietly governs how much we allow ourselves to receive. If your body feels unsafe with abundance, love, or success, it will reject them, no matter how much your mind desires them. This is where awareness protocols and embodiment rehearsal become powerful tools, because they gently retrain your nervous system to recognize receiving as safe, natural, and familiar. Carl Jung captured this truth when he said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." The unconscious is not only in the mind, it is also stored in the body, shaping how we react to opportunities and blessings. If deep inside, wealth feels like stress or rejection, or if love feels like betrayal, your nervous system will push them away without your awareness. Through conscious awareness and embodiment practice, you begin teaching your body a new emotional vocabulary of safety, openness, and worthiness. In daily life, this is not abstract theory, but a lived reality. When you are offered a new opportunity, does your body feel expansive with excitement or tight with fear? When affection is given to you, do you relax into it or brace yourself as if something bad will follow? These signals are the hidden language of your nervous system, and until they are addressed, no amount of mental effort can override them. Embodiment rehearsal allows you to practice new responses, replacing fear with comfort and suspicion with ease, until your body learns that abundance and love are not threats, but natural states. Spirituality and spiritual development are lived here, in the small ways your body welcomes or resists life. As you consistently train your nervous system through awareness and rehearsal, the extraordinary becomes ordinary. Success feels normal, and love feels safe. Many people fail at manifestation because they try to bypass the body while forcing the mind. But true alignment happens only when both work together in harmony. The message is clear. The universe cannot give you what your body does not feel prepared to hold. By listening through awareness, integrating through embodiment, and practicing until safety becomes second nature, you unlock the flow of manifestation that feels effortless rather than forced. Do not limit manifestation to thoughts. Allow every cell in your body to participate in the experience of the life you desire. This is the deeper path of spiritual development, where manifestation is not an act of chasing, but a natural expression of being. When you embody this alignment, manifestation begins to work quietly, continuously, and powerfully through you, even when you are not trying, because you have finally become the safe vessel for the very reality you once longed for. 7. Release old stories that create resistance. Release the old stories that have been holding you in resistance, because every time you repeat phrases like, "good things take time," "you have to suffer to grow," or "material desire is unspiritual," you are strengthening the invisible program of scarcity that keeps you waiting for blessings that are already available. Carl Jung reminded us, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." And these inherited beliefs live in your unconscious, quietly dictating how much abundance, joy, and freedom you allow yourself to experience. They sound harmless, even wise, yet they are seeds of delay and denial planted in the garden of your mind. And the harvest will always reflect what you plant. If you believe growth must be painful, life will meet you with pain. If you believe material desires are shameful, life will mirror that shame through lack. But when you choose to release those outdated stories, you open a new space where intelligence and spiritual wisdom guide you instead of fear and scarcity. Quantum manifestation is not about forcing outcomes. It is about aligning with the natural flow of life, a flow that is always moving toward expansion, ease, and synchronicity. Albert Einstein once said, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant," reminding us that when we trust our inner knowing, we discover that synchronicities are not accidents, but confirmations of alignment. Desire itself is not unspiritual. It is the soul's language, a divine signal pointing you toward expansion and fulfillment. When you honor your desires as sacred messengers, opportunities appear faster than logic expects, and the universe rushes to meet you halfway. Jung also warned that what you resist not only persists, but will grow in size. And when you resist abundance by clinging to beliefs of delay and denial, you magnify the very lack you want to escape. Yet the moment you surrender resistance, life begins to rearrange itself in your favor, often in ways that seem miraculous. This is not weakness, but higher intelligence, a choice to stop fighting against the current of life and instead trust it to carry you where you are meant to go. Releasing those limiting beliefs is the same as clearing the debris from a river. The water of abundance flows naturally once the blocks are gone. Declare to yourself now, I am no longer bound by the old story that growth must equal suffering. I am no longer waiting endlessly for someday. I am worthy of abundance, joy, and fulfillment now. The lesson is simple yet powerful. Release resistance and synchronicity accelerates. Dissolve scarcity and abundance flows. Honor your desires and manifestation becomes effortless. This is the wisdom of Jung, the intelligence of spirit, and the truth waiting within you. You are not here to chase manifestation. You are here to allow it. To free yourself from the weight of the past, affirm your release today. Comment below, I let go of old stories, to declare your openness and inspire others to step into their own spiritual awakening. 8. Personal synchronicity is collective healing too. Personal synchronicity is not only a private blessing, but also a collective healing force. Because when you embody love, abundance, and ease, you are not simply shifting your own reality, but also strengthening those same vibrations in the larger field of humanity. Every thought you choose, every feeling you nurture, every action you take in alignment with love becomes a frequency that others can unconsciously draw from. And this is the hidden truth of spirituality and spiritual awakening. Your inner work is never just for you. It is for all of us. Think of the times you have felt a stranger's smile ease your heart, or someone's calm presence steady your nerves. This is evidence that energy is contagious, and your vibration is a silent offering to the collective. When you release fear and step into abundance, you send out a signal that others can rest, trust, and rise as well. Carl Jung reminded us that who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes, and in that awakening, you begin to realize that your own receptivity expands what is possible for the entire web of life. Choosing gratitude in place of worry, choosing forgiveness over resentment, choosing peace in the midst of chaos are not small, private victories. They are acts of service because they loosen the knots in the collective consciousness and make space for healing that extends far beyond your own story. In modern life, this means that even the smallest choice, such as breathing deeply instead of reacting in anger, or trusting that life supports you instead of falling into doubt, becomes a ripple of transformation. You may not see its full impact, but the frequencies you stabilize create permission for others to align, to soften, and to believe again. When one person embodies coherence, the field around them changes, and when enough individuals embody love, the world itself begins to tilt toward healing. You have felt it before, stepping into a room where someone's peace changes the entire atmosphere, and you hold the same power in your daily life. Every act of alignment is a contribution to the unseen climate we all breathe, a spiritual offering that shifts possibility not only for yourself, but for others you may never meet. This is the essence of manifestation. It is not a selfish project of getting what you desire, but a dance with the universe where your vibration becomes a collective doorway. To embody love is to give others hope. To embody abundance is to expand the pathways of courage. To embody ease is to weave trust into the fabric of humanity. Your awakening is a medicine that spreads silently, creating healing where it is most needed. And so, each moment you choose alignment, you are not only receiving from life, but also giving back frequencies that help others step into their own truth, their own power, and their own possibility. And so, the mystery of quantum manifestation reminds us that even when we don't see it, the universe is already responding to the energy we carry. What you seek is not as far away as you think it is quietly unfolding, aligning itself with the frequency of your inner world. If this message spoke to you, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom. Be sure to turn on the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming insights on Carl Jung, spirituality, and the hidden laws that shape your life.